your broker, if it was a broker that you use. So that's something for me that I keep in touch with my clients after we close to make sure everything is going smoothly. So yes, we're going to be talking about what happened after we close.
After the nice pictures.
After the pictures are done, the celebration at the closing table, then what? Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So yeah, let me know where you want to start. We
Well,
can start digging in.
the first thing we want to start with, when you, after the first year, of course, your tax
Mhm,
is adjusted to the purchase price. It's adjusted to how are you living in that property, your
mhm,
homestead, and the person you are as an individual,
mhm.
how is your taxes prorated for your property, your insurance. Those two
Mhm.
top things are what you experience that adjust your payment monthly. Some people
Correct.
seen some crazy numbers in regards to their
Mhm,
homestead and the price of the home. If somebody owned the
mhm.
property for a long time, and when you bought the property, their tax was under under 1,000, for example, and then when you
Right.
buy it at like a six figure, appraiser's office is now adjusting it to the purchase price, and also the fact that you're a new person coming in, and what are
Mhm.
you eligible for to be able to homestead. If you're eligible for disability and all those things, that's when you get more. So
Right.
most of us just get a regular homestead, so your
Mhm.
tax is still high, right?
Correct. Correct. Taxes are still going to be slightly inflated.
Yeah, well, not inflated, but adjusting to what you purchase it for.
Adjusted. Correct. Correct. Because it's again, those are the areas that we're finding now, and the reason why we're tackling this conversation today is because social media is a very important tool, and I find that when folks are in an irritated state, social media is where they're going to go.
Right.
They're going to vent their frustration there. And so we're starting to see where folks are saying, I can no longer afford my home, or why did my mortgage run up $1,000? Why did this happen? New construction, existing construction. And a few of the variables, as you said, is your insurance, your escrow, your taxes, or your specialized insurance, whether you bought a single family or you bought a condo. And we need to be specific. We're living in, we're currently doing business in South Florida.
Right, exactly.
Different cookie from New York, different cookie from Georgia, different cookie from even North Florida, even though they do have their challenges as well. Other states do, Texas, California, Chicago, the Midwestern states. They all have their different challenges. Not to say that they're not similar to what we're experiencing in Florida, because the market on a whole has been significantly on the uprise. So again, the taxes is one of the things that when I'm writing a loan or doing any kind of origination, I always try to tell my clients, don't look at the taxes that the previous homeowner or the current homeowner is paying. Or if you're buying a new construction, do not look at the taxes that's on the tax appraisal website. Typically, you go to your county website and you can search that, or through your agent will find that information on the MLS listing. That's where the confusion comes in, because we do get clients who say, I want this house, the taxes is $3,000 a year. The sale
Yeah,
price on
right.
that property was 200,000 in the year 2015. We're in 2025. You're not going to be paying $3,000 for that property taxes.
Right.
That was 2015 sales price
Right.
at 200,000. So where I usually get the kickback is when I say, hey, I'm going to the county's website and I'm gonna call county and tell county that I need to get it adjusted to our new sales price. Oftentimes customers will push back. But to explain that why we do that is, if you're getting the true upfront taxes before you close, you will not have a surprise moment come November or December.
Right. The other thing too is the fact that Most of the appraisers offices website, they do have an estimator for you where you are able to put in what you're purchasing your property for, and then it
Correct.
kind of gives you an estimate. So that way, as a
Mm-hmm.
homeowner, when you're buying the property, you're then able to allocate a little bit more towards your escrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're buying a property, they kind of try to estimate what expenses they're gonna have to pay on your behalf, and those expenses on your
Correct.
behalf is your tax, your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they can get what they see based on the information they have. The mortgage person would
Mm-hmm.
have that in your escrow. But sometimes when you're looking at your estimator on appraiser's office, you then want to try to see if you could allocate more money in your escrow so it doesn't come as a surprise for you. So the two
Correct.
things that come as a surprise, of course, what we know is the tax and insurance.
Mm-hmm.
However, is there, on your experience, do you have any current stories or current things other than those two things that does create a surprise for a homeowner within the first 1 to 5 years of owning a property?
Yeah, 1 to 5 years of owning a property. One of the biggest issues, like you said, we're seeing where folks are saying they can't afford their properties. And some folks might have put down less than 20% to purchase that home. So we're also seeing, especially in Florida market, where some insurance now are requiring an additional insurance policy, which is what we know as a specialized insurance, which is flood insurance. And so adding flood insurance on top of that may push the person to where they may have to request forbearance on that mortgage. And we're talking about within the first year to 5 years.
Mhm.
If you're in forbearance, bear in mind there's different components to forbearance. It means that you're not able to make the payment, and so there's a 60 or a 90 day or 120 days period that your lender may say, hey, we're going to give you some time to catch up. But during that time period, they may offer you, if you're not able to pay the lump sum of the past due, they may say we need to do a modification.
Mm,
A
okay.
modification will consist of really and truly rewriting the loan. So, where we're seeing some of the issues with modification is if you received any kind of down payment, whether it's Florida Hometown Hero or any grants from different county or different cities or different municipality or even the state bond program, we're seeing where folks are not understanding the language with those grants.
Can
Take,
you
for
go
instance, Florida
into that?
Hometown Hero. Yeah. Take, for instance, Florida Hometown Hero. There's very little you can do about that grant if you fall into any kind of default situation. If you're looking to refinance that property for whatever reasons, maybe debt consolidation, you got to pay that loan back off. If you're looking to, say, do a equity line to see how you can consolidate, pay down some debt. Maybe you have a car loan that you picked up. Maybe some emergencies happen. Your child is going off to college, maybe some student debt, maybe some anything. For whatever reason it is, you have some accumulated debt and you now need to get rid of that. You're thinking about utilizing the equity in your property. You got to pay that hometown hero money back. Most people are not aware that you have to pay it back. It is not a forgivable grant. It is a loan. It is a deferred loan for up to 30 years. It sits there. It doesn't have a payment to it. But when you do go to do an equity line or refinance, or even in the case of a modification, that do come into play. So
Right.
you can go from the point of where you may say they're going to modify my loan. And the modification, again, it's very similar to rewriting the loan. It's almost like you're redoing the loan all over again. And they may have where it's an FHA, they may put you in a 40-year term, or they may not extend the term. It all depends on how much the balance of the primary is. So there's different variables and different avenues that can be taken with that. But one of the things is, if you're not able to no longer afford it, you may have to look at other options. And the other options may be, God forbid, you may have to sell the property
Mm,
or maybe downsize. And so you're finding out that there's a lot of folks now who are in positions where their taxes went up, their insurance went up, they can no longer afford the place and they have high debt. Or they can no longer afford the property, but they have a grant that was given to them to help them with down payment. And now you have to deal with the two respective areas of the loan. Now, it can be all confusing and can be heavy. Homeowners can feel like they're being attacked. But again, it's very important that you reach out to one, the lender, and two, if it's not the same lender that originally did your loan, might have been a servicer. You want to reach out to the servicers as quickly as possible to be able to see what your options are. Because the
Right.
goal is not to have your property foreclosed. That's not where we want to be. We don't want to go to a short sale either, but you want to make sure that you're exploring all avenues. So it's very important to know what type of down payment you're getting, what are the criterias, what are the boundaries, and also make sure that your property taxes are fully adjusted prior to closing, not after, but prior to closing. um, a lot of people are scared of when we say adjusted prior to closing because they're feeling that, oh my God, I may not be eligible for the home. But really and truly, if we get it adjusted before closing and you're not eligible for the property, then we got a problem. That's
Right.
just going to tell us that the risk of you potentially falling into payment issues in the end after we close is high. So the risk goes up.
Right.
Um, Insurance, you want to make sure that you are understanding what you're getting. Don't ever let your agent get you an insurance. Don't ever let your loan officer get you an insurance because at the end of the day, you're the one that needs to be shopping for it. Read through it. Get as much quotes as you can. If your loan officer make a recommendation, we got to give you three, and that's law. That's the law. We got to give you three recommendation, three referrals. You got to make the decision on your own as into how much. Now, if it's not enough insurance, the underwriters will tell us that it's not enough insurance. But insurance right now is one of the biggest kicker that's hurting homeowners in Florida, in South Florida market that has purchased within the last 2 years. In the
Right.
last year, that's the reason why we're doing a year to 5 year. What can happen? And unfortunately, a lot of people have down payment assistance, and those money got to get paid back. Um,
Okay. So to
mhm,
recap, within the first 1 to 5 years, maybe 7 years,
mhm,
um, insurance, tax,
mhm.
they can affect your what you pay on a monthly basis.
Correct.
If emergency happen with you where you must, where you
Mhm,
incur more expenses than you had previous to
mhm.
closing on the property, you have to
Yep.
then have to look at different option with your lender. The
Mhm,
thing that I want everybody to get is that anytime something happened that you're not understanding, deal with the professionals that helped you, meaning your
mhm.
lenders, your realtor, so that way they could help you facilitate
Yep.
a solution that works best for you. There's a lot of people that are experiencing buyer remorse in regards to because now they're not they house rich, but how does the saying go again? House
House rich and pocket poor.
Yes. And so there's a lot of buyer's remorse. So when you buying a home, you do want to take
Mhm.
your time with you and your family. You're not just spending your
Yeah.
money. You're not just spending your hard-earned savings or some money that you got from a lawsuit or whatever, however you derive to the money that you are able to put down on the property or get
Mhm,
assistance for that. Even if you're getting assistance, know and understand what you're getting into. Now, you
mhm,
won't understand and remember everything, but the professionals alongside of you hope you chose the right one to be able to go, after you have closed. So that way they could
mhm.
guide you to whatever you may go through. Because a lot of
Correct.
people too, the other thing is their tax, how they file their tax. That's gonna hit them after
Mhm.
that too. Because it's not
That
just
is true.
the tax on the home, is how if how you filed your tax to get the property. If somebody made you
Correct.
change something and it was inaccurate or something like that, you might end up with an
Mhm,
IRS thing. Now, this is all this is all a spectacle course, right? Where you could do what if,
correct.
what if, what if. But at the end of the day, every situation is as individualized as your thumbprint. where we
Hmm.
speak generalized stuff, but you individually, your thing might be slightly different. So it's always best if you have any questions to please contact us directly or contact whomever you are dealing with directly. So that way
Yeah,
you're getting information that's geared towards you and customized information that's geared towards you. So that way you could know the best way to move forward or the best solution for your family.
absolutely.
Yeah. So see you guys in the
Yeah.
next one. I'll be posting our information somewhere at the bottom so you could contact us if you have any question. We're looking forward to helping you guys. See you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you.